and welcome to the Toughees #Youthfluencer webinar. We are so excited to have you all join us today. My name is Swastika Jagannath and I head up marketing here at Barta. And this webinar is brought to you by the Toughees brand today. Joined with me here, we have Michael, who's our Toughees brand manager.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael, as Swastika mentioned. I head up the Toughees brand here at Barta. Very excited for this initiative. Welcome, everybody. Have fun and let's learn things.
Thank you, Michael. We are so excited that you've joined and we have lots to share with you today. Please remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, across it all, and like, subscribe, and do all it is that you are best at. Well, we've tried to ensure that there's lots of cool tips, tricks to help you unlock your social media superpowers and to become the baddest and the most talented influencers in town. So I'm sure that most of you have signed up today, one, because we have an exciting session lined up, but also for the 3 influencers that we've got. Let's get this party started. I would like to introduce you to our first guest, who is Prev Reddy. He's a YouTuber, an actor, a comedian, and a Nickelodeon's Kids' Choice Awards winner. So we're going to start off with a little video that we managed to hack from Prev. And since the Squid Games is trending right now as a theme, we thought this would be the most appropriate video to introduce you with. So Prev is going to show us what he would do if he was playing Squid Games. Let's welcome Prev.
Thank you. That's what I would do if I was in Squid Games. I would die first because if they played Bhangra in that game, finished. It would have shot me. Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Swas, for that lovely introduction. I've been doing content creation now for just over 2 years, and it's been the most incredible journey, the most tricky and evolving experience as a human and as an artist and as a creator. And I'm so excited to be a part of this workshop where we get to share our skills and share what we've learned in the online content creation space with everyone, all 200. Oh, we hit 200, all 200 people on this webinar today. So thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to share whatever I've learned with you guys. And it's going to be an awesome 3 days.
Thank you, Prev. Thanks a stack. Let's meet Alex Jamie. She's a fashion and lifestyle content creator, as well as a woman empowerment blogger. She's the plug, guys. Let's check out her video.
Hi guys, I'm Alex Jamie. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a fashion and lifestyle content creator and woman empowerment blogger. I started my content creating about 2 years ago, and it's really been amazing and such a fun journey ever since. I can't wait to share some of my experiences with you and do this webinar.
Thank you, Alex. Now we'd like to introduce you to Nathan Molefe. He's an aspiring digital content creator and an influencer who will be here to help you flex your super influencer powers with confidence. Let's check out Nathan's video.
Hi everybody, I hope everybody can hear me. So I am Nathan, I'm a digital creator, influencer and entertainer, and I'm so excited to be part of this webinar. Have a lovely one, guys.
Thank you, Nathan. We'd like to thank our key sponsor who's helped us put together this collaboration, and that's the Vegas School. We really appreciate all the effort and the time that the lecturers have put together so that they can share some of their insights with you. And I'd like to introduce you to the superstars behind the scenes. I'd now like to welcome the brand specialists from the Vega team themselves. Let's say hi to David, Pedro, and Suhana.
Hi, guys.
Hey, folks. Hope you're well. If I can maybe just welcome you all. So I'm hopefully going to see all of you on day 3. The program we've got together is really, really exciting. We look forward to helping you find your niche and making a positive difference in this country. The one thing I would plant now to try and work out before we get to Friday is, what is your point of difference? There's so much clutter out there in the social space. What are you going to do that's going to make it meaningful? But most of all, have fun.
So without further ado, let's get started. We have David Kwan, who's going to lead us through the first session for today.
Hi guys, my name is David. As Watsika has already told you, I am super excited and looking so forward to working with you guys and getting you into a position where you are ready to become a next big influencer. So hopefully you can learn from this, grow from this, and use it more importantly. So just a little bit about me. I am from Durban as well. I was born and raised here. I lecture in marketing and branding. I'm super fascinated about human beings and consumer behavior, and more so people brands. And I also look at innovation and what channels people can use to market or communicate themselves with. Just a quick overview of what we will be looking at in session one. These are 20 to 25 minutes each, which is what is brand, first of all, and what is social media and why is it kind of important for us as an influencer, as a person who wants to brand themselves. Session two, how do I actually build my own brand, particularly on social media? And number three, why do people even bother using social media to build their brands, and some final tips and advice. So hopefully this is going to be extremely helpful to you. I hope it is. And we'll see where we are at the end of today. Cool. So session number one, what the brand? So if I can call on my influencers here, Alex, Nathan, and Prev, if you can just tell me what comes to mind. So Alex, if you can tell me what comes to mind when you think about Nike. Prev, if you can tell me what comes to mind when you think about Omo or Nando's. And Nathan, what comes to mind when you think about TikTok? So we can start with you, Alex.
So when I think about Nike, I think about this phase in primary school where everyone wanted like a Nike backpack. I had a pink one, of course. So that's like my first, like what I think of when I think of Nike.
Cool, great memory. Prev?
For me, the standout has to be Nando's. I think because I'm a comedian and a comic writer, they do such a great job of tying in, pop culture and cultural relevance and news of today in a very funny comedic way. And then they just somehow manage to bring in their chicken. I think it's so brilliant because when you think of Nando's, you can't help but think of all of the ads that they've done over the past few years. So that's the first thing I think about. And then I want to go buy like a reshuffle quarter chicken leg or something.
Absolutely, they really are good at making comedic ads, and I think that's really relative with you. Nathan, if you tell me about TikTok, what comes to mind?
When I think of TikTok, I think of entertainment, and you know the meaning of TikTok. You might think you will be on TikTok for like 5 minutes, but you'll end up being there for like 3 hours unconsciously. So that's what I think of.
Absolutely, that rabbit hole, the entertainment that we just can't put down, and one video leads to next, that leads to the next, and 5 hours later, we're still watching videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
Awesome. I just want to ask Alex, what do you think a brand is? If you had to put it in 1 or 2 words, what is a brand to you?
So I think a brand is like a specific logo or name used to identify a product or business.
There is a very specific definition that I always relate to myself, and I love this definition. It comes from a very well-spoken and well-knowledgeable marketeer named Seth Godin. And I just want you to focus on these key words that he uses to explain a brand. Words like expectations, memories, stories or storytelling, and relationships. And we'll see how important these words are as we go down and continue with today's session. So this is a a question I love to ask all of my students, but what is a brand that you cannot do without? If there was one brand that you could only have and you had to remove every other brand in the world, what would that one be? Alex, what would that brand be for you?
Definitely Apple. I feel like all of my stuff is Apple. So I don't know how I would like function or use a different brand. So definitely Apple for me.
So if we had to look at why this brand is so important to us that we just could not let it go, it is what you guys have been telling me. A brand is a promise. You know, it's a promise I make to you. It's a promise a company makes to you. It's a promise an influencer makes to you. And that promise includes what they can expect from you as a product, as a brand, as an influencer. It also helps you be different. And Pedro said earlier, how are you going to be different from others? So a brand helps you separate yourself, you know, become different from everyone else in the marketplace. And it also tells people who you are. That word identity, it's such a great word. And that's exactly what it is, and who you want to be. What is your identity? So I'm just going to talk about how did we get to where we are today with youthfluencers and influencers, and where did branding actually begin with? I don't know if you guys are familiar of how branding came about, but we're going to look at that with a little bit of depth. So if we have two images over here, we see a person painting their cow, and we have a piece of pottery from ancient Greece back in the day with someone's name over there. And this was what they understood a brand to be. It was an indication or a sign of ownership, meaning this was my cow, this is my name on it with my paint, or this is a piece of pottery that I made and I've put my name on it. We still do that today, and ownership was what a brand was considered to be. And then we progressed in life and in society, and we started to become smart, and everyone started to create products that were exactly like us. Back in the day, there were many, many competition or competitors to Coke that all made fizzy, brown, black drinks, etc. So branding was no longer just about ownership, but it was to tell people that we are Coke and our product is different from everyone else. So we used it as a form to be different from other people, which is where we are today. We're still telling people that we're different, but now it's about managing what people perceive us to be, or think about, or feel about, or say about us as a brand, particularly with influencers. So it's about managing perceptions by those who experience it. And you guys are the guys that experience it. Me, myself, we experience Apple, we experience Nike, we experience influencers. We experience, I don't know, Kellogg's, Rice Krispies, etc. So our perceptions matter to brands. It is all about perception. It's all about what we say, our identity, you know, our promise. This is my promise to you. I promise to make you laugh. I promise to give you quality. I promise to be the best at delivering your product. And then that's how you feel. It's your perception. And, you know, so there is a very big confusion between brand and product. And a lot of people get this wrong. And you'll be surprised of how many people don't know the difference. So I like to think about a brand is that a brand has the ability to change or transform a product. So it could be a box of cereal, it could be a smartphone, it could be a car, it could be a piece of clothing, into what we call an emotional idea, where you have feelings, you have emotions when you think about it or when you speak about that brand. It really is about you know, creating that feeling, and that's what brands are meant to do. Brands are so great in that they can take something such as a fizzy drink and change it into an emotional idea. You know, whenever we think of Coke, we think of happiness, you know, open happiness. How many times have you guys heard of this? Like everywhere you see a Coke ad, it's all about happiness, it's all about family, it's all about friends and summer and the beach. And that's where branding is. And that's what separates a product, which is a fizzy drink, to a brand, which is the emotion of happiness. Or BMW, you know, it's about the driving pleasure. It's not just a car. I mean, a car is a car. It could be a Toyota, it could be a Mercedes, it could be a VW, but When you buy a BMW, it's about the driving pleasure. You enjoy driving the car. That's the emotion, excitement. Hopefully you guys are still with me. Great. So I love this little quote, and I only want you to focus on the underlying parts, which is branding adds spirit and a soul to what would otherwise be a robotic or empty or automated generic price value proposition or a product. So basically, branding adds spirit and life into just dull products such as a smartphone, a box of cereal, or a car. So this is one person's interpretation of what these brands would look like as people. Pretty interesting, hey? So a young, youthful, fun look. I mean, Fanta looks like a very fun person to be around. Coke looks sophisticated, a little bit more of a successful, empowered woman or person. BMW doesn't look like the friendliest guy. I've heard rumors about BMW drivers. I don't know if they're true, but they are there for the driving pleasure. So it's all about their enjoyment, etc. Probably a very successful person. Jeep spot on outdoors, nature, hiking, ruggedness. Think about someone camping in the wilderness. Can a person be a brand? Alex, what do you think? Can a person be a brand?
I definitely think a person can be a brand. In some cases, I identify as a brand. For example, I have my own online shop, Shop Alex Jamie. So I think when people see Alex Jamie, they already associate my name with fashion and lifestyle because that's what I do. So I think it's definitely possible for a person to be a brand in that case.
I quickly want to talk about social media platforms, and then we'll have a 5-minute break and then head on to section number 2. So social media platforms, you guys are so familiar with this. Alex, can you tell me perhaps what you use social media for?
So I use social media mainly for business now, but also just as a space where I could be like fully creative and post stuff I like. So that's what I use my social media for.
Fantastic. Prev, if you could just help us out here, what do you use social media for?
So I use social media to share my content, share my skits, to entertain, basically. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And to just express my point of view on certain subjects and matters that are going on in the world.
Fantastic. Nathan, if you can help us out as well, what do you use social media for?
Well, I use social media to show people my personality and to share my skits. Yeah, that's what I use social media for.
So I just want you to focus at the bottom where the red is, and social media really is just a collection or a group of websites or apps designed to help people share, learn, interact, and promote more quickly, efficiently, and in real time. So it's happening now as we're speaking, much like now we're talking in real time. So social media is a very, very useful and very, very wonderful tool for you as potential influencers. I like to think about social media as theater stages. Alex, would you dress and behave any differently at a party, working at a part-time job, and in a classroom?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Prev, would you?
I would. I think that when you say dress differently, I don't think we mean to completely change your look or your personality or how you wear types of clothes, but I think that every room requires a different type of appearance. So, I'd wear something more relaxed at a party than I would at a part-time job. I'd wear something more toned down in a classroom than wearing a frilly little thing that I wore at a red carpet 2 weeks ago. So I think, it's a very famous line that we use in comedy, and it's just called reading the room. So you need to just, read the room and know where you're gonna be. Because if you want to wear, something extravagant like a little Nas X red carpet outfit at a part-time job in a professional environment, I don't think anyone would take you seriously. So I think it is important to identify the room you're going to be in and how you dress yourself. And I think that applies with social media as well, to know what you're posting where, to understand the room.
I love that line that you just spoke about, reading the room. I like to see social media as theatrical stages, and each social media platform, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, is very similar to an actor's stage, and each has its own unique goal or purpose and a unique audience, or the people that we're speaking or performing to. If you look at the purpose in the middle here, for each kind of platform, there are different uses that people would use social media for. So Facebook is building relationships. TikTok is building relationships as well, but more conversational. YouTube is lifestyle and educational. You guys would bang on with that. LinkedIn is news articles and networking for jobs. Instagram is conversation, etc. And I want you to also pay attention to the age groups. So someone said Facebook is for boomers. But if we look here, Facebook's actually 25 to 34-year-olds that mainly use Facebook. Where if we look at TikTok, it's mainly 18 and younger to 20 odd, or people in their 20s.
Okay, I'm looking at some of the questions in the chat box, whoever is still here. Tommy Mkees asks, how does one overcome the biggest failure as an influencer? All you can really do is learn from it and grow. I think the influencer space or the online space is constantly changing and evolving. So what may have worked for you last week in a piece of content that you've posted might not necessarily work this week. And all you can do is just learn from that and gauge the response from the audience or the lack thereof on a piece of content that you have posted, and then work toward bettering it the next time. I don't think Rihanna said it best, there's no failure, only lessons. So I don't think, you should stress about something not working. Just do exactly that, overcome it by getting better at it. I've had weeks where my content just sucked and no one watched, but instead of being upset, I learned and tried to figure out why it wasn't working and then built on that.
We'll be touching into some of that on how do you actually get followers and how do you get people to kind of subscribe to you and how do you grow as a personal brand. This is all going to be covered in this session. And I'm going to teach you the tricks of the trade, the tools of what you need to be or should be doing to become a successful personal brand. For me, there's 3 easy little steps on how you build your brand. And we're going to be looking at each one and what it means to say, who are you? How and what I say and do, and what I need to change are the 3 basic steps in how you build a brand or a successful personal brand. The first thing is, who are you? This is what we call the backstage, where we build our character. We write the script, we decide what clothing we want to wear, etc. We start to create a character of who we're going to perform. So what is your personality? What do you want to build? What do you want to achieve as a brand? What is your purpose as a brand? What are your strengths? What are you good at? And what is your goal for branding? So people either say it's to get further in my career or it's to influence people. So when it comes to personality, this is a very good way that we look at it in terms of branding. There are certain categories or archetypes that people, brands that we know, like Nike and Dove, and Jeep and Fanta and Coke, all fit into these archetypes. So I'm not going to go into too much depth. A lot of it is in the ebook, but we play certain roles or certain types of characters based on our personality. And if you have a look over here, we have a few that kind of fit into these categories. So if we look at Explorer, on the right, we see the North Face, and it's about freedom, it's about exploring, and that makes sense. If we look down at the bottom right, we see magician or magic, and we see Disney, and we know that with all their animations come out and their theme parks. If we look at Old Spice, for those of you who are familiar with that and how they all make these quirky, funny little Old Spice ads. It's all about pleasure and entertainment and being funny, etc. And these brands fill into these archetypes or character types. The next part from personality is, what do you want to build? What is your purpose? So I have 3 very famous brands here that each have very remarkable purposes or what they want to build. So the first one, to give people the power to share and make the world more open and connected. The next one, to refresh the world, to inspire moments of optimism and happiness, to create value and make a difference. The last one and final one, to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. If you have a body, you are an athlete. First one is Facebook, the second one is Coke, and the third one is Nike. So after personality, and when we have a purpose or what do we want to build at, we also look at strengths. So Alex, what is your purpose? What do you want to build as an influencer? What do you want to achieve? And what are you good at? What are your strengths?
So I think my purpose and strengths are definitely to explore like everything in the 2 things I love the most, which is fashion and lifestyle. And also show young people that it's possible to create your brand literally from nothing. I did it. So I definitely want my brand to be a space for young people to be inspired. And yeah.
I want young people to be inspired through, your good use of makeup tutorials, etc. Prev, what is your purpose? What do you want to build or achieve? And what are you really good at? What are your strengths?
Okay, so we'll start with strengths. I think I'm good at writing. I know that writing has always been a skill of mine, acting, performing, and now more recently, film production, because I edit my videos myself, I piece them together myself. So that's what I'm good at. And what I want to build is, pretty much the same as Alex, as an Indian kid from Durban wanting to pursue a career in arts and entertainment is not the first thing that should come out of your mouth to your parents. It's either lawyer or doctor, otherwise disappointment. So, what I really want to do and what I have been doing is showing kids that you can do it regardless of what the external forces say. If you believe you're passionate about your craft and your talent, go for it. And the people who weren't supporting you in the beginning will end up supporting you once you've made a name for yourself. So I think I want to build, again, some form of inspiration to kids who want to pursue the arts, because we need more of us in the space.
Lovely. I love that you and Alex both want to inspire the generation after you. Nathan, if you're there, maybe you can tell us what you're really good at and what do you want to build, or what is your purpose?
Well, honestly, I'd say I'm still learning some few things because I started this platform. I started being a content creator and influencer in 2019. So my purpose, I feel like, is to bring joy to other people, just to make people happy. That's my main goal of what I do.
Fantastic. Inspiring, making people happy, making them laugh, and using your talents and your skills and new skills to do that, to help you on your journey to become an influencer. Once we have our personality, we know what type of personality or brand archetype we fill in. We know what our purpose is, and we know what we're good at and our strengths. We now have created our character, or we create the character that we want to portray, and we move on to the actually performing, or what I call the front stage. So how and what do I say and do as a personal brand that's going to help me get my name out there? So first of all, you need to choose who you want to speak to. So it's pointless being there on the theater stage if you've got no one to speak to. Number 2, you need to choose your content. And I love to think about this visually. So if you are created this character and you want to perform and act as this character, you need clothes, you need the behavior, you need the mannerisms, etc. to achieve this. It's about producing the right content on the character that we've kind of created. Prev, I know you've got quite a few characters that you have come up with. If you can just share one of them.
Yeah, so I think the most famous character that I've created is Auntie Shamila, which started off as nothing. She didn't have a name, she didn't have anything. But when I posted my first video as her, I noticed that a lot of people connected with the character. So I delved in. I was raised by my aunts and my grannies. So I took very key character personality traits, I guess, to create her. So, and I think that's why she now speaks to a lot of people, because a lot of people can see their aunt or their mom or their gran, or, nostalgia of growing up in her. So, yeah, so I think she represents for me our parents, our homes, and just Durban. I think she's a very Durban-esque character.
And then lastly, once you have your audience or who you want to speak to and what will you say in terms of content, it's time to actually say it. So how are you going to say it? How are you going to show it? Is it through videos? Is it through photos? Is it through skits, etc.? And that's really important to know beforehand before you start communicating your brand. An important thing for you guys to take or be aware of is that the platform, the stage, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, will guide your type of content. People on those platforms on Instagram respond to and they like and they use a lot of the content types that is recommended by the platform. So I don't know about you, Alex, do you find yourself using a lot of images and videos on Instagram?
Yes, I use mainly images and stuff to connect with my followers. So yeah, that's my main source of content is images.
Okay, great. Do you use any stories as well?
Yeah, stories too. Stories, reels, all of those.
Nathan, do you also use a lot of images and videos and stories on Instagram?
Not really. I do post some stories, but I mostly focus on TikTok. That's my main platform.
If we look at the stage of TikTok and where people perform, etc., we'll see the type of content. Again, the platform is determining or deciding what kind of content you use. I've seen for myself a whole lot of lip syncing videos. We have a very famous one on the right here from Bella Porch. You guys should be familiar with as well, etc. So a lot of dancing, a lot of lip syncing videos. So let the platform decide the content for you, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, or TikTok. And then, guys, it really is about the performance. It's about going out there and acting. It's doing your parts. It's using your content, using your wardrobe, using the props based on the character or your identity that you want to communicate to people.
If you guys are posting content on TikTok and it's not going viral the way you're seeing some people get thousands, tens of thousands of hits, or sometimes you might post a video and that particular video will get 40,000 views and the next 10 that you post will get under 1,000 or before or below 5,000, do not be disheartened or discouraged by that, because out of all the social media platforms, the TikTok algorithm is the trickiest one. There's so many bits and bobs to it that it's a cliche. It's not you, it's them. So just be consistent, because TikTok is like hitting the jackpot, and when it's your day, it's your day. It has nothing to really do with you. The algorithm is very weird. Because I know someone did say I got 40,000 views today, and the following week I posted a video and it was getting like 200. What did I do wrong? It's never you. It's just consistency is key when it comes to TikTok.
Absolutely, Prev. And I think that's super important. And it actually brings up into this next section. It ties in well. If things are not going right, what do I need to change? Do I need to be consistent, or do I need to adjust my content and perform differently? There are two basic ways to do it: is check how your audience responds to you, responds to your content, responds to your videos, your photos, your shorts, etc., or whatever post that you put out there. Are you getting the right or positive responses that you want? And always remember, there's a specific group of people that you want to speak to. So those are the people's comments, shares, and likes that are really important to you, not everyone else that you're not trying to speak to. Not everyone's going to be your fan. I think Prev, Alex, and Nathan, that not everyone loves their content that they put out there. It's a reality. So if you're finding that the people that you want to speak to are not enjoying your content, then it's time to make some changes. Or sometimes, as Prev said, you need to be consistent and you need to push through and check it again at a later time. So, Alex, how can you check if things are going well with your social media?
So I like to use my insights to check if like things are going well. That pretty much gives me a good way of seeing what my audience is engaging with more or what they tend to like more. So checking my stats is quite important to see if things are going well.
Great, stats, insights. Nathan, how do you check things if things are going well for you?
Well, I use my insights because with TikTok, it's kind of tricky because I don't check them every day. I just check them per week.
Great. Prev as well, how do you check things are going well with you?
So I use my insights and analytics differently. I use my insights and analytics, that's a big one, to see the days that my users are most active on. So I know which days I should post on. But in terms of how well content is doing, I base that on the amount of comments and shares and engagement that my video gets. So if a video is getting, I don't count likes as my video doing well, because I can get 5,000 likes on a post, but only 2,000 people actually stuck around to watch the whole video because it's so easy to double tap and just move. So I base if things are going well on engagement. So if people are tagging their friends, if people are sharing the video to their stories and tagging their friends, that way I know it's going viral, it's reaching more and more people, because insights only gives you a generic of the people that follow you, but your engagements and people that are being tagged is a good way of seeing, okay, this piece of content is doing well because people are going out of their way to tag other people in it.
I think there is a big difference between likes and the word engagement. Engagement is really what you should be using to check if things are going well. And engagement can come into how many followers you have. So from 6.5 million to 50.4 million. We can use the likes gain as some kind of indication of how many people have seen or new people have seen your content. We can look at comments, and it falls under engagement, etc., which is really important to see what people are saying about, whether they like it, whether they're sharing, whether they're reposting, etc. So if your audience has a negative response to your content, so I have over here on the right, Rebecca Black's Friday. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. I'm not going to sing it because I'll probably break your ears, but you can YouTube it. It is the most disliked video on YouTube with 3.9 million dislikes. Just think about that for a moment. 3.9 million dislikes, right? So obviously people did not appreciate her content. So you have kind of two options, you can either change it. So again, at the bottom right, it's a remix from Rebecca Black on Friday, featuring a bunch of other artists, and it is way, way better than the original, and people are responding positively towards it. Or you can be consistent and persevere and push through. If you're familiar with the chef Gordon Ramsay, he's got a very loose tongue when it comes to commenting on people's cooking and food. And you can see some funny posts here. He's consistent with who his character is, his identity, as being very rude and very blunt and very to the point. There's black and white with Gordon Ramsay here. If you think about, guys, when we're speaking about brand personality and archetypes, Gordon Ramsay definitely is that kind of outlaw villain type character. He's very, very shrewd, but that's who he is. That is his identity. That's his personality. And he performs like that. And he communicates it through his content. So that's the way we act, is through content. We can check engagement, as I said, very important with likes and shares. And also very important to note who's liking other people's posts and who's sharing other people's posts as well. Can help you generate more leads, etc., as an influencer. But be very, very careful when you do perform and put content out there to not be fake, right? We have a lot of people that are out there that have an identity and they are not the same when they perform. I'm pretty sure you've seen influencers before and you've been let down and you've been disappointed because who they say they are and what they actually put out there on social media is not the same. It is about the promise. You remember, a brand is about a promise. So if you promise to bring entertainment, you promise to be local, you promise to give good makeup tutorials and inspire people in terms of doing their own videos or becoming influencers, then you need to perform, you need to act like it, and your content needs to align like it, because then how they feel about you is going to make sense. And that's when you have a really, really strong personal brand. Okay, so we are going to take another 5-minute break before we head on to the last session and final tips. So this is going to look at why people are using social media as opposed to other media, and why is it super beneficial for personal brands and influencers to be using as many social media platforms as possible.
Nathan, someone said that they're struggling to get followers. Please assist.
Yo,
It's a struggle for all of us.
It's so tricky. Yeah, it's so tricky because we also don't know how we did it. Okay, what I can say is be consistent. That's all you can do. Always post content, be consistent. And when you become consistent, your audience can see, okay, this person is consistent. Let me follow this person. Let me follow this person. So try by all means to be consistent.
Also,
that's the one tip I can give you guys.
Is so important.
Yes, that is
Indeed.
a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, finding your
I think
niche.
we all found our niche and we ran with it. And I think when you start working with your niche, and it's like getting your niche audience to rally against you. And then once they start telling more people about you, it starts to get big with a niche. And that's how you sort of become commercial after that.
Indeed. I feel like a person should, explore different types of content and then figure out what people like. And then what people like more, that person can most definitely focus on that.
True.
Yeah, that's
and I just Prev, you said something really important there about niche, and niche is that audience that I was telling you guys about. It's the people that you want to speak to. So you have to identify who they are, because they're the best people that are going to respond positively to your content. And as Nathan said here as well, also important, you need to see what content works with them and change and adapt, etc. So if it's doing well, you might need to be consistent. If it's not doing well, you might need to change things up where they respond positively towards it.
Alex, Furiso asked, how did you start being an influencer?
So I started being an influencer like 2-3 years ago now. And I started taking it seriously because that was like once I found my niche, like we were saying. I tried like a few things. I originally started out with like a YouTube makeup channel. And then I realized that no, it's not really for me. And then I started posting like just grid posts on Instagram, like fashion content. And my audience really liked that. And then I did too. So that's where I started. I think I was like 15, 14 kind of at the time, and it's really grown since. So that's how I started becoming an influencer. And at the time, it wasn't even like influencer was not a thing. I wanted to be a blogger. So it was like a fashion blogger. Yeah. It was like I wanted to be a fashion blogger, and then only like over time influencing started becoming a thing. So yeah.
I see Tandile asks, how do you get over the anxiety of posting or engaging? I think the best part about social media is that there's no one in the room with you. You're by yourself. So you don't have to be nervous about anything. And if you post your first video, and if you're anxious about reading the comments, look at it after 5 or 6 days, like build up the courage. But I think the best thing to do always is to start, because you'll never know what's going to happen if you don't post your first bit of content. Perv, how long did it take for you to get to where you are? Pretty much my whole life. I've only done entertainment. I started performing when I was 15 years old at the Elizabeth Snedden Theatre. I was into acting and musical theatre. But I only got into, I think, like Nathan and Alex, I only got into content creation at about 2 years ago. But at that point, I had performed on stage as an actor. I had done stand-up around Johannesburg as a stand-up comic. So it was really cool 2 years ago to fuse the two of those things that I love the most, acting and comedy and writing, and put it into one. And yeah, so it started 2 years ago as well, and I just started to run with it.
Somebody asked, how do we overcome failure?
Yeah, I said it's not a failure, it's a lesson. You just learn from what didn't work and then do better or change. I'd like to try out new things all the time, and when I try out new things, it bombs horribly. Like it bombs so bad, and I'm like, damn, I really liked that video. I really liked that idea. I really liked that concept. But sometimes you just got to understand that the audience that you developed does not like that or is not ready for that type of content yet, and so you have to shelve it and maybe bring essences of what that is, that a word, an essence of what that content was to what you already do to ease them into your change. Because remember, a big part of being on the internet is evolving. You have to change like a musician.
Yeah, when I was posting like fashion stuff, originally I just wanted my content to be like fully fashion, but I noticed that my audience were more wanted like lifestyle and more of me, not just of like fashion stuff. So I had to learn to balance both of those two to create my brand. So finding the balance was really important.
Some people said, how do you deal with criticism? How do you grow a thick skin for that? I feel like I'm too fragile. I think we're all too fragile. Don't get it twisted. Like everyone who's an actor, influencer, music, if you're an artist, you will always be fragile. You are always going to be sensitive to your craft because your craft is something so personal to you. Like as something as simple as Alex doing a makeup look or Nathan doing a skit or me doing a skit, it's us sharing a bit of our soul and what we love the most to the entire world. So at first, getting criticism or hate comments is a hard pill to swallow because what your mind is telling you to do is, okay, I have 500 great comments, but there's one person that doesn't like me. And so your body goes into an automatic response of, I need to win this one person over. But over time, you realize that there are so many good comments that it outweighs the bad. And like David was saying earlier, there are people that don't like the three of us. And that's okay because that's not our audience. So I think the only way to deal with hate comments is to just read the good ones because those sort of just outnumber the one person who probably does like you, but they just want to be where you are even. How do you know that in the future you'll still be a successful content creator, influencer? Well, personally, I don't think I'll be doing this forever because I do want to eventually gradually transition into movies and film and TV. I shot my first movie this year, which was very exciting, but I also want to transition into writing my own TV shows and performing in them and doing whatever Mindy Kaling and Tyler Perry has done. So I'm giving myself not like a time limit, but I'm not giving myself forever to do this. I don't think you can. I think just like with any job, you have to eventually, move up a bit. I don't know about Alex and Nathan.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, content creating is like my current job with fashion and stuff, but I definitely want to study. I'm going to study fashion and design, and I want to go into fashion buying.
Oh, on my side, I think I'm going to start next year. Well, I want to do a course for influencer marketing because it's in line with what I'm doing, so that I can take this job much more seriously.
All right, guys, thanks for the questions. I think we're gonna hop back in with David.
So this is going to look at why people are using social media as opposed to other media, and why is it super beneficial for personal brands and influencers to be using as many social media platforms as possible. So we are on the final session, and this is a very conversational one with our influencers. So there might probably be more time. There definitely will be more time after the session for you to have more questions for the influencers to find out from. Alex, if I could ask you, why are you branding yourself on social media?
So I'm branding myself on social media because it's the fastest, easiest way, in my opinion, to get an audience and grow an audience and build my brand in that way. It's worked out for me so far. So I guess it's a good way to start if you do want to start building your brand.
Fantastic. Nathan, why are you branding yourself on social media?
It's all about uniqueness, I can say. It's about being unique, offering something that's, I don't know, not other people can offer.
Okay. And Prev?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Why?
think it's pretty much the same as Nathan, to exactly what Nathan said. I'm trying to find the sentence to rephrase it, but yeah, to brand myself as an entertainer, to brand myself as a multifaceted performer, and also to brand myself as someone who does inclusive content for people
Do you
who
think
don't.
that social media is the best place for that?
100%, because social media is the place that reaches the most amount of people globally. So like we're talking about a niche, I make content for the Indian kids who grow up in Indian homes, and there's not a lot of content like that. And what I've learned is that it's the same. It speaks the same to people in the UK and the USA and whoever. So I think it is the place for it because it reaches a lot of people.
And it's exactly that. So as Pedro said in the very beginning, we'll be taking you guys on day 3, that there is a lot of what we call advertising clutter. There are a lot of influencers, there are a lot of personal brands, that exist on social media or exist in the world. Everywhere you look at, there's influencers. Everywhere you look at, there's brands. So there's a lot of it, and you need to break through, and social media helps you break through. And as prayer, find that niche audience that relates to your brand and to your content. With social media, it's a lot easier to become recognizable to your audience. You can reach them. They don't have to be with you in a room. They don't have to be with you at a concert hall or in a theater stage. They can be sitting in their homes or on their phones and connecting with you. And it helps shape your perception as a brand. And ultimately, it helps drive more business or business opportunities. The world is your oyster kind of thing. Followers, and gain popularity with people you would not normally gain or even know about if it weren't for social media. So some other important reasons that I think people, including myself, sometimes overlook or forget is that with social media, there's so many of these online tools that it really makes it easy to manage. So if you think about how easy it is for you guys, and even for me and the influencers, to jump onto TikTok or Instagram or YouTube and post content, we can do it almost immediately. There's no special training or skills, and social media allows us to post content easily and frequently. And then another big thing is that there is a massive or quick growth of a very connected world. Everyone's connected on the internet, Wi-Fi, social media applications, and we're able to reach multiple audiences. Here's an interesting little infographic of every minute in 2020, what was happening on your various platforms that you're familiar with. And it's kind of scary if you look at some of our famous ones, that every minute 347,222 Instagram stories are being posted every minute. In YouTube, 500 hours of video every minute is being posted was posted in 20. Look at WhatsApp, 42 million nearly messages sent every minute, right? Scary stuff. TikTok, it was installed 2,704 times every minute in 2020. So guys, when I'm telling you that the rapid growth of technology and a connected world is happening, it is happening, but it's good. It's bad because we get addicted, but it's good because we have so many people, so many audiences that we can reach with our content and influence and gain new followers and gain popularity. And it's also important that we start branding ourselves or managing our brands on social media. And I love this quote. It comes from Tom Peters, and he describes it, or online environments, as we or them has made us the boss, the owner, the CEO of our own company or our own brand. And it's our job to manage our brand, our company. Prev, Alex, and Nate, do you relate to this, that you feel like you're the boss of your own company?
Yeah, you have to be.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's your face on everything. It's your face that people are seeing. It's your face in the content. It's your face in the campaign. So you have to treat that with the utmost care.
Especially on social media, because it's not, people online, as we said, 10 hours a day, right? Everyone is watching your content 24/7. There is no break. You have to consistently manage your brand. Okay, my final tips and advice, and this is where the influencers are going to come in and share their experiences. When you want to build a brand-focused social media profile for yourself to have the best possible personal brand out there, there are certain tips and guidelines that I recommend to you guys to stick close to and really take it to heart. So if the first one over here, decide on your social media platforms, have a consistent presence. We've been speaking about consistency on at least 4 to 5 platforms. I don't know, influencers, how many platforms are you guys currently on?
All.
Yeah, basically all, except LinkedIn.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
here.
So we're looking at about six platforms, right?
Yeah, but I always recommend starting on one, focusing on one, building your
True.
audience on one, and then
Indeed.
layering it, because trying to juggle 5 platforms is a lot.
It's too exhausting, yeah.
Absolutely. And do you feel that you consistently on all platforms, or do you lean more heavily towards Instagram, or it's TikTok your main platform, or do you try and make sure that your presence is felt on all of these social media platforms?
I think making sure that your presence is felt on all of them is like really important, but I definitely lean more towards Instagram. So yeah, I try to stay consistent on most of them, but I feel like YouTube takes a lot of time. So that's like my least, like, where I post my content, but I do try and like bring all of my content to like one level.
Yeah.
Prev, yourself, are you consistent?
Yeah, I mean, I'm consistent on all. I do neglect my TikTok every now and then. It's just because TikTok is still yet to be properly like monetized in South Africa, especially with brands and stuff. I mean, you can have 200,000 followers on TikTok, but your Instagram is sitting at 4,000. So I try and focus more on my Instagram and my YouTube and my Facebook, purely because those are the 3 platforms that I can monetize, and I do monetize, and I get money back on in content. So, you post, you get your ad revenue. So those are my 3 platforms that I focus on, because that's my rent. So yeah.
Absolutely. There's no TikTok house yet here in South Africa.
No, not yet.
Nathan, do you feel like you're consistent on most of these platforms, or do you feel like you're not as much on certain ones?
Well, I'd say I'm more consistent on my TikTok. I use TikTok more than in other platforms. And then I try to balance out with Instagram, but I am more focused on Instagram, on TikTok, because that's where I get my brands. With Trev's case, he gets his revenue from ads and whatnot. I get it from brands. So that's how I gain my revenue and focus on my TikTok.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm glad to see that the consistency is coming through with all you guys, etc., on these multiple platforms. So number 2, be yourself, be authentic, and be personal. People like to see the real you. They don't like to see a fake. They can smell a fake. You guys have talked about it earlier. they know when something's up, when 1 + 1 = 3. And focus on what value you bring. Do you guys always strive to be authentic and personal with your audience?
Yes, definitely. I love connecting with my audience, especially like DMs. I feel like it's more personal. Like sometimes I'll just like choose a day, go through my DMs and answer like some questions that they really want to know.
Great. Do you feel like it's hard sometimes to always bring value to your audience?
Sometimes it is, but I feel like as a brand, like as my content, like what I want to put out there, it has to be of value or else I wouldn't be happy with it. So I wouldn't want anyone else to see it and not get any value from it. So
great advice, Alex. Prev, you mentioned something, and the part that the chat was lighting up was what happens when you get negative comments, etc. How hard is it to still be authentic to your identity when all those mean negative comments come in? Alex, I don't know if you can also comment on this as well.
I mean, I always feel like if you aren't upsetting a few people, then you aren't doing something right. You have to outweigh the bad with the good, because a lot of the times the people that don't like you either don't agree with who you are as a person, your beliefs, your content. I mean, it can be an array of things. And again, like I was saying before, all of those things have nothing to do with you as a creator. It has everything to do with them as an individual. So I don't give too much of my energy or time to that, because there's nothing I can do to improve or to win them over, because they already don't like me or what I do. So instead of wasting my valuable time on trying to win them over like I did and I tried to at the beginning of my content career, I now just take that same energy to put 110% towards content for the people that do enjoy what I do. So I know it's easier said than done to ignore those comments, but once you understand that it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them, it becomes much easier to just look away.
yeah.
Fantastic. Number 3, focus on and engage with your fans. Sometimes, as influencers, as personal brands, we just post photos and don't bother replying to comments. We don't check DMs. We don't do any kind of live streaming or engage in a dialogue, one-on-one conversation with our audience. Do you feel that's super important for you as influencers?
Yes, definitely. Like, as I said, sometimes I'll like choose a day to like go through my DMs, answer their questions, because engaging with them and building a relationship, they feel like they know you personally. And I feel like that's very important as a brand.
I love that, building relationship. Nathan, sorry.
Oh, I would like to add on what Alex just said. Yeah, talking to my supporters, it's I feel like it's really essential, especially because I do that more especially on TikTok, on the comment section. I try to reply as often as I can to engage with each and everyone.
And not just the comments and not just lives, but also your stories. Your stories are like 15-second vlogs that your followers get an insight to what you're doing over and above that nice, lovely piece of content you just posted today, and very edited and very well structured. So I think it ties in with what Alex is saying and building that relationship, because I know we feel like we know our influencers and celebrities very, very well, very personally, because they share so much about their life. So I think other than live streams, doing your stories, and I mean, also be very careful about what you post and how you post and how much you want to give of yourself. But that also just gives them a sense of, I have this bond with this person. They get me, I get them. I'm not the only weirdo who does this. And yeah.
I think that's so important, that we form relationships with brands, and essentially your audience wants to be in your world or have a piece in your world. And that is based on how much you want to share, as Prev said, but super important to engage with them and be real with them and build a relationship. Move on to number 4, keep your brand consistent. And we've spoken quite a lot around this idea of consistency, and I keep wanting to remind you guys about that image of Eskom and how they're not consistent in saying powering your world. And I know it's a cliche to say to walk the talk, But when we say walk the talk as a brand, it means you need to live up to your values, to live up to your identity. As Prev said earlier, he's all about growing up in an Indian community, and that's who he is as a person, and that's the content that he creates is around that. I don't know, Alex, you know, in terms of makeup and lifestyle, is that authentically to who you are?
Yes, it's 100% authentic to who I am. Those are literally things I love doing. So even if nobody was watching, that's what I'd be doing in my everyday life. Like, so definitely authentic.
And I'm sure no one was watching in the beginning because no one was watching.
Nobody was, especially when I started like the YouTube makeup channel thing. But then it led into like doing fashion posts instead. And now my brand is what it is today.
You just got to keep at it.
Great. I love that. Number 5, stay up to date on social media trends. I cannot stress this so much. The algorithms all change. They each have their own TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. But as you as a person, what you can do from your side as an influencer is stay up to date with social media trends. I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed this increase in shorts or short videos being circulated around on every single platform. Is there anything else trend-wise that you influencers have picked up on or you foresee coming within the next couple of months?
No, it's just these shorts or reels or TikToks or whatever you try and whatever new name it's gonna have next. I think that's what everyone's doing because it worked for TikTok. But I think with the whole theme of staying on trend, some of my most viral videos or most viewed videos are videos of me doing parodies or you know, comedic commentary on things that happen in the news in that day. So it's very important to be on your phone for 10 hours a day so that you don't miss something, so that you can be on it. I mean, I did a Shamila reviews the Met Gala literally 10 hours after the Met Gala happened. So and that got a lot of views. So people want the now. They want to see it now. So it is very important to be on top of the trends.
Absolutely. And I think being up to date with what's relevant, and that kind of filters into the content and to the right hashtags. Nathan, do you agree with that?
Yeah, for instance, because I can see on the comments, guys, for instance, let's talk about that 40 million saga. I don't know if everybody knows about that, but that's like a trend. If ever you see something popular happening at that current moment, jump on it, guys. Jump on it.
With your own unique
just jump on it.
Your own, again, like me with the Squid Game thing. Squid Game was popping last month. So
exactly,
you know, we took the thing, added your own flavor and what people are again familiar and expect from the brand, and you do it. Yeah, hop on it.
Jump, guys, jump on it. Don't miss out.
Fantastic. And I guess that's why we need to spend 10, 12 or the whole day on our phones here.
Yes,
Okay, and you know, hashtags are often overlooked, but they're really, really powerful. And it's a great way for you guys in the chat to keep up with what's trending on social media and in the news in terms of content. So what hashtags are out there, etc., that people are using that is popular amongst people on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, etc. And what type of content are consumers wanting to engage with? So this is like everyone in the world. Most people are visually, stimulated with its images or videos or stories. We prefer images as opposed to text, or people acting or forming or live streaming, etc. So pay deep attention to hashtags and the type of content. I know if influencers, if you have any examples where you've benefited from keeping an eye on hashtags or the content and utilize that to your advantage?
I think it's TikTok mainly. I think hashtags work, what I've seen personally, on TikTok and Twitter, because people are searching for those particular trends at the moment. I think the problem that I have with using hashtags on Instagram is that I could be looking for men's haircut because I want to change my hairstyle. So I'll search for the hashtag. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be interested in the person that posted the picture of the specific haircut I'm looking for. I just needed that reference. So I think with hashtagging on Instagram, it's very seldom. I think like fitness, sports, recipes are the most, because people will look for things, but I don't think they'll necessarily engage with you. Whereas with TikTok and Twitter, which is a very different platform, people search for those trends because they want to see different variations of the Squid Games trends that are going. And if you happen to be funny enough and entertain that person, then they would probably go onto your page, see more of your content, and stay. So I think the hashtags are relevant, particularly in TikTok and on Twitter. But that's just me.
I think with like on Instagram, as you were saying, like the hashtags are like, there's a lot of different things in there. You don't really go to follow the person. That's why I created my own hashtag for my fashion posts. So it's called OOTD with legs. So that's what I wanted my followers to see, is that they can follow this tag, like this tag is me, and know that tag is me, and know that you're going to get an outfit from me, or like style from me. So I think branding that is like knowing this is my tag, like you can follow my tag, share my tag. That's important.
I love that comment from the chat, Selena. Hashtags are like categories or the library that helps, especially with food content. I don't just think food, I think pranks. It could be beauty, lifestyle, etc., travel, but definitely very, very helpful to keep an eye on what hashtags are trending and what content is being circulated on social media. There's 3 key takeaways or main points I want you guys to walk away with from this. Is number 1, know your stage. So know your platform. So whether it's TikTok for Nathan, Instagram for Alex, or TikTok and Instagram and YouTube for Prev, and know your audience. Who do you want to speak to? Everyone has a niche. Not everyone's going to like your content, but the people that you want to speak to will. Know how to build and always be an authentic brand. Be consistent. Don't be fake. People can smell a rat a mile away, and perform like you mean it. So engage with your users, produce content that's of value to them, and stick to that. And lastly, guys, the entire world is yours to engage with. It's a global audience. So what are you waiting for? I thank you so much for your time, guys. Hopefully you learned something. Thanks to our influencers, Prev, Alex, and Nathan.
Yay, thank you, David. And as well to Prev, Alex, and Jamie, you guys have been fantastic. And the Vegas School, thank you for all the insights. I think everyone that has joined this webinar today has definitely learned something, including myself. 10 years ago, if we think about it, this kind of webinar didn't exist, let alone a course about social media or influencers. So if you are looking to learn a little bit more about social media, you could definitely visit that Vega website and understand what that course is about and how you could learn a little bit more. Thank you for being a wonderful audience and for participating today. We really loved having you. Bye.